Also, yesterday, out of the Alberta government, the UCP intends to impose provincial restrictions on medically assisted deaths,
Mm.
um, which I think is in line with the values of Albertans. And I'd love to see the feds try to fight us in court over this, where they're going to drag us to court because we don't want to euthanize our sick, our elderly, our inconvenient, and our mentally ill.
Watch
Um,
though, Cupie will.
QP
Watch.
will.
Just
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. Cory, go
Cupie
ahead.
trains, yeah, Cupie trains death doulas. Go on, Cory.
No, it's great. I mean, MAID is another area where they've taken something and just gotten right out of control. I
Yeah.
might be like I sort of support the ability for somebody of right mind in a terminal, painful condition to choose a way out with dignity, perhaps. But they've totally lost the case on this one. I had a former lawyer, for people who might remember, back in the 90s with Sue Rodriguez, and she was
Yeah.
fighting for the assisted suicide back then. And he said he did not imagine this turning into something where people with mental health issues would choose, death and some of the other areas, depression, diabetes. That wasn't where this was supposed to go. It was supposed to be a very last resort for somebody in terrible condition, and it was supposed to be their choice alone, not having their arm twisted or encouraged into it. It was just an option as last resort. And I think, again, the Smith government is on the right track on standing up for this, because I think people have been pretty horrified with some of the cases they've been hearing about what's been qualifying for this now. That's not what I think anybody imagined.
Yeah, I think the big change was when they made it if you had irremediable suffering,
Mhm.
that was the big change, and that just opened the floodgates, because what really is irremediable suffering except trying to access socialized healthcare and getting on a wait list, right? Like, it's quicker to get MAID for the suffering caused by your knee that needs to be replaced than it is to get the knee replaced. Alberta is going to prohibit MAID for mature minors, people with mental illness.
Don't settle for being on the rate of last resort if you don't have to be. Check your most recent electricity bill. If it says the words rate of last resort on it, then there are likely better options available for you. In fact, you could save hundreds of dollars per year by switching plans. Check your bill, then go to ucahelps.ca to explore your options. You will likely find a better rate and could have hundreds more in your pocket by the end of the year. A message from the Government of Alberta.
And people without healthcare decision-making capacity. So it can't be made for them by somebody else who finds them inconvenient. And the province will also increase oversight and regulate healthcare workers involved in referring, assessing, or performing medical assistance in dying. Because right now it's really a free-for-all for who can be one of the people who says, yeah, you know what, I'm not their doctor, but I talked to them. I'm just a prescribing pharmacist and I think they're good to go. Like, I'm glad that we at least have some sort of regulatory oversight to.
Well, we need safeguards.
Well,
this needs safeguards. Remember, just a couple weeks ago, we told a story about a husband that ordered MAID for his wife because he was tired of caring for her. Well, this would protect women like that. This would protect spouses like that. I think this isn't happening. It is. And yes, we need guardrails.
Yeah, MAID is one area that I just haven't even had the heart to really delve into, because it's just so heart-wrenching to hear these stories. But clearly it's out of control. And for me, it's, what is the root cause? Why are people in this situation? And I think, Sheila, you touched on it. If people are waiting months or years for knee surgery, maybe we should figure out how to deal with that issue. If there's an epidemic with mental health, perhaps we should be looking at the root cause there. What is going on? Why all of a sudden are people depressed more? Perhaps we should look at it at resolving those issues instead of offering this final solution that, like I said, I can't even bring myself to look into that so much, because it makes no sense to me. But we're living in an upside down world, so what is new?
Yeah, I did a documentary on it, and more than anything, the families left behind, like their sense of helplessness was just gut-wrenching, because all the people who were supposed to help them just helped their loved one take their life. Like, there's 2 girls in British Columbia where their mom was released from the hospital after a suicide attempt and was approved for MAID later on that day. And there was nothing they could do to stop it. They felt so helpless. And, you know,
the way that they described like the streamlining of the process, the streamline, it's just like a human life is just boxes to check. To end a human life is just boxes to check. The bureaucracy just takes over, and families are suffering because of it.
Yeah. To play a bit of devil's advocate, though, I mean, there are some cases where you need it fast, in a sense. We just got to figure out how perhaps to put those guardrails in. I had a case. My brother-in-law had terminal esophageal cancer. He was in the end stages. He was in agony. He had no quality of life, and it was just a matter of kind of medicating yourself until the time comes. And he chose just to speed it up, if only actually to a degree for the sake of his family, who are, having a hard time and dealing with that as well. But those are the kind of cases I think a lot of people think there might be room to make that personal decision. And that's not the cases we're hearing about. So I just would fear for tossing out the entire ability, because I do think there might be cases where it's possible, but the current system is unacceptable. It's not bringing out those exceptional cases like that.
Yeah.